So the next area I wanted to talk about is how do we really get to a good single view of the customer? And this is really where sales and service start getting a really good holistic view of the organization. What's going on? Show me all the email interactions. Show me all the phone call activity. What is sales working on? What is service working on? What's going on that we've sold to them in the past? How do I get to a single version of the truth, a single pane of glass that allows me to see every individual interaction with the customer? But let's take it a step further. Let's talk about all the documents that we may be storing for this particular customer, as well as let's go ahead and take a look at an organizational hierarchy chart, will help our sales organization understand who reports to who when mapping out opportunities, as well as the ability for service to understand who we're dealing with within an individual service case or ticket. So now let's go back to our Microsoft environment, and we're going to go ahead and click on a account that we've been working on, AdventureWorks. And this is really where we're going to start to see that 360-degree view of information. So as the screen loads, we're seeing some very high-level information about the account. So who the account is, what's their account number, some basic information, their address, where they sit on a map, so we can actually see their physical location. If I scroll up and look over to the right, we can see the relationship assistant. Now, this is the Microsoft's, kind of entrance into the personal assistant space. So think of, Siri or Google Assistant, but now we're looking at this from the standpoint of Microsoft Dynamics 365. It's letting me, the end user, know that I've got a meeting in 20 minutes with this particular customer to review pricing. So top of mind information is set here that I can go ahead and interact with. If I scroll down a little bit further, we can see here's all the primary contact that we're interacting with, as well as some additional contacts that belong to the organization. So single location to see all the basic contact information, as well as all the basic business information. If I scroll down just a little bit further, now we're looking at all of the recent opportunities that we're currently working on, as well as support related cases. Now, where this becomes critical is that we're giving this visibility to the entire organization with customer engagement. So as a sales rep, I'm walking into this meeting in 20 minutes to talk to them about pricing and potentially preparing a proposal, but I can see that they've got some support ticket issues that they're currently working on. One of them is they requested a sample of something, and the other is that there's an issue that's going on. So I have visibility to look into that, maybe speak to my team members about what's going on to see if it's a critical situation that we need to address. And that's going to impact and maybe impact my meeting that I'm walking into. So now I'm being presented with information that will better arm me and better prepare me for interacting with that particular customer. Now, in the middle is our timeline feature, and this is a new kind of blended area within the application that allows me to look at all of the activity that's gone on with this particular customer. I have the ability to go ahead and filter this if I want to. So for example, the only thing I really want to see at this particular point is instead of looking at all the different activity that's here, why don't we just go ahead and look at the appointments? So it's going to quickly take all of the history that's there and just show me all of the appointment related activity that's going on. And obviously these two match here. Maybe I want to go ahead and look at just, for example, the phone call records that are inside the system. So it's going to go ahead and filter all that information out and show me here's all the phone calls that have happened recently. Whether they're inbound, coming in from Nancy, or outbound where we've made phone calls out to her. So this gives me a great centralized information for all of the interactions that are going on, whether it's a case related issue or an opportunity related pursuit that we're working on. All of that information kind of flows up to the account level. And then this is where I get that 360-degree view of information. It's that single version of the truth. Now, there's a couple of other things that we can do here as well. We can create new phone calls, we can create new tasks, we can also open up OneNote. And this is a pretty popular feature. I'm gonna go ahead and open this up for a second. And what it's going to do is it's going to allow me to, while I'm in a meeting with this particular customer and I wanna take notes, I'll be able to record that information right inside of OneNote, and now it's automatically attached to this particular account record. So anyone from my organization who wasn't at this meeting but wanted to understand what was talked about or what was discussed will have the ability to see that all right within here. So this is extending some additional Microsoft functionality that's really popular that a lot of sales reps are using and service reps are using when interacting and taking notes with customers. They're using a tool like this to allow them to capture that meeting conversation in details. And then what Microsoft is doing is they're hanging that off of the timeline feature and allowing the entire organization visibility into that information, which is very critical and important when trying to understand really what's going on with the customer. So you can quickly see that we've taken several different islands of information, whether it's emails from Outlook, whether it's opportunities that kind of may sit off to the side and customer cases that may sit off to the side, and brought them together in a nice clean view that allows us to see what's going on with this customer. Now, I should tell you that when looking at this screen, every time we go through a deployment with a customer, these screens are completely configurable. So if there's information that you're looking to see here that doesn't exist, that doesn't mean that it can't be added quickly, including the layout. If we wanted to move things over, or maybe primary contacts needs to be over here, the moving of information on these forms is very easy to do, and adding information to these forms is easy to do. It's just done at the system level. So it's a configuration that's made that's pushed out to the entire organization. But being able to capture critical information about your customer and putting it into a central hub that gives everyone in the organization access to that information is really what Microsoft is driving towards. Now, a couple other things I wanted to quickly highlight as well is I've created this additional tab myself that shows me all of the sales information that's gone on. So this is the sales history. So show me all of the quotes that are there that's outstanding and the status of those quotes. Show me all of the customer orders that are currently going on, as well as all the invoices. Now, this could be a integration into your financial application. It could also be a tie-in potentially to a tool like Power BI where you could visualize this in a different fashion. But again, I think that this is another way where we're seeing a consistent view of information. While the sales rep is on site with that particular customer and they say, hey, I got an issue with this particular invoice, they'll be able to see this information, whether they're on their laptop, on their tablet device, or on a phone device. They would be able to access this screen and this information directly to get to the details of this particular invoice in order to address that customer's questions or concerns. So again, consistent information, consistently driving towards the same result to make sure that we're giving the customers a good, solid experience. Now, in addition to that, taking it a step further, there's this concept of documents. And if I click on this, we're going to be presented with a screen that's going to show all of the relevant documents that are related to this particular customer. Now, what we're seeing is information directly from SharePoint. So we're presenting SharePoint libraries inside of the Dynamics 365 environment where I can go ahead and see this particular pricing example that we're working on, or maybe an agreement that was recently closed. So if I just wanted to open up that OneNote and just look at that exclusively, I can do that from here. You can see the source is SharePoint where all this information is stored, but we're displaying it here inside of Microsoft Dynamics 365. I have the ability to also upload new documents from here if I wanted to, or create new ones with a lot of the Office Online tools that are available to me. Now, where this becomes powerful is that we're eliminating the need to swivel from one application to another or from one window to another, and we have a consistent location for all customer-related documents and materials. So again, if we go back to the summary section, we've got all the basic information, the timeline information, the information about opportunities and cases, all of the interactions, all of the sales history, and all of the documents in one single view. So anyone can come here who has access to this particular customer and this information and view that information as well. Now, one of the new features that Microsoft very recently added to the Sales Hub experience is this concept of an organizational chart. And what it's going to do is it's going to come down and say, okay, we've got these 4 individuals that are part of this organization. Why don't you go ahead and start to build out how they would look in an organizational chart. So if we go ahead and open this, it's actually going to show us, okay, here's the CEO of the organization. We've got an operations manager. We've got the CFO, and then reporting to the CFO is Nancy in purchasing. And if we wanted to alter or change this for any reason, we could just go ahead and double click on Nancy, and we're presented with a quick pop-up window on the right-hand side. We can change who she reports to. So maybe in this case, she's actually going to report to Roger directly. So she doesn't side report, or she doesn't report under Ethan. She reports to Roger directly, and save that. And it's going to go ahead and it's going to update the organizational chart for me. So as new contacts come in, they'll be available for me to go ahead and add to any one of these individual managers, or obviously directly to the CEO. So as sales reps that are looking to navigate the organization in order to get to the right individual who's going to be able to make a decision, or if you're working in an organization where it's important to understand who reports to who and how that's all managed, by capturing that obviously at the level where we're capturing that inside of the account record, we're able to help the organization really visualize who they're interacting with and how those interactions are taking place. Let me go back to the AdventureWorks main site real quick. So again, just to kind of summarize before we move into the next area, just to highlight, this becomes the central repository for us to interact with our customers. It becomes that single version of the truth, and this is really where everything cascades up to within the Microsoft environment. So any activity that's generated under an opportunity or a case will automatically flow up to the actual physical timeline here. So anyone who's really flying into this account and wants to understand what's going on will see the latest and greatest information about those interactions. We'll see all the information about any upcoming critical things through the relationship assistant. We'll be able to see all the contacts in a single location, all the opportunities, all of the cases that exist. We can change tabs to get to sales history, which could be either an extract or an integration through ERP, as well as all of the documents that may exist inside the environment through exposing SharePoint into Dynamics CE. And then obviously, lastly, being able to really map out that contacts and being able to see how they live and breathe in an organizational chart. So this can be, mission central or mission control for every interaction that you have with your customers, driving them towards a successful outcome.